everyone, welcome back or welcome to my channel. Welcome if you guys are new. I feel like I haven't sat down and introed a reading vlog in a hot minute because it has been a hot minute. I actually didn't intro this one at the beginning because the timelines were a little bit odd for this one, but we are basically just doing another TBR takedown video and I have so many good books lined up for this video. The first book we're starting with is Morningstar. Now I will say I have read a little bit of this because I started it on the plane, but I catch you all up in a second. But I did start this on the plane on the way back from my trip. But Morningstar is of course the third book in the Red Rising series by Pierce Brown. If you didn't know, I have been working my way through it. I was very anxious to pick up Morningstar, but I also wanted to be in a completely conscious mindset. I didn't want to be like half asleep and like on a train and off a train, like when you're traveling, you don't have all your brain power. And I wanted to be fully present when I was reading Morningstar because I know that it is quite an intense book. After Golden Sun, the ending of that left me baffled, so going in with so many questions. As for the rest of the video though, we are really just taking down every book we can on my physical TBR for the next week or two, even additions to my TBR that might happen over the next few days, because I do think I want to go book shopping because there are just some books, Into the Blue being one of them, that I am dying to get my hands on. So a free-for-all TBR reading vlog. I just have so many books that I want to get to and I figure I will take you guys along with it. I hope you guys enjoy. I hope you have fun. And let's jump into it. Okay, so I'm starting this vlog with Morningstar. We're actually already halfway through Morningstar because I started it on my plane ride home. We're gonna just start here. I would have vlogged on the plane, but absolutely terrifying. Like, you serious? You're in such close quarters with people. I was in economy, I'm not in first class, so I was not about to vlog on the plane. That was absolutely terrifying. But for halfway through, these are my thoughts so far. It is a lot more addictive and a lot easier to read than Golden Sun. Whilst I loved Golden Sun, don't get me wrong, I remember in my vlog I was saying that it felt like I had to use my brain for every single sentence. If I missed a single word, I would have been like thrown off and I wouldn't have known what was happening. So it felt very much like that for Golden Sun. I had to pay attention to everything. Whereas this feels, I don't know, we just already have everything established. We're really picking up where we left off. The main action, I want to say, has already been established. So it kind of just feels like everything's flowing a little bit more. We know our circumstances. I know all our characters a lot better now. I'm very glad I didn't wait too long in between reading this because I think I would have forgotten it. And I'm starting to like Darrow a little bit more. We all know that I don't have the best relationship with Darrow. I find him a little bit annoying, but I'm also kind of like, you know, he's just a guy. He's just a guy at the end of the day. What I'm really liking is, without trying to spoil anything, our world has been opened up a little bit more. This is already a very Roman inspired, I don't want to say magic system, political system, and I guess magic system, like the hierarchy and everything like that. Everything is quite Roman inspired. I'm not sure if saying it is a spoiler, but I'm not going to anyway. But we've opened up to and more influences, which I really, really like. My partner is just reading the first one at the moment, and he described it as the Roman Empire meets Star Wars. Obviously, influence of the Hunger Games in the first one, but for the rest of the series, Roman Empire meets Star Wars. It's a pretty accurate way of describing it, I would say. Pierce Brown's writing is definitely really growing on me. I'm starting to like it a lot more. I am also really liking a lot of our characters. I kind of have mixed feelings towards Mustang. I really, really liked her in the second one. I was like obsessed with her. In this one, I mean, I feel like she hasn't been as present, but I think I like her, but I don't know. She was really growing on me, and now I've kind of, I don't know, I don't feel as connected to her, and I'm not exactly sure whether that's because she's done something or, you know, what it is, or I just have a different attitude going into this one. And it's weird that I'm liking Darrow more because it was the complete opposite. I feel like things as well are very much just in a continuous uprise. The action is just continuously getting more and more intense, and little things are starting to happen more frequently as well, which I really like. In the past few books, we've kind of had just all this prep before the action, whereas I feel like we've done our homework, we've done all that. Now we just get to like reap the benefits, honestly. We just get to have all this action and all these high stakes situations, and I'm really, really liking that. It's making it so much easier to read. I do want to finish this as soon as I can. I have no idea what we're going to go into afterwards, but I'm really addicted to it this time. I'm glad I didn't read it whilst I was over in Europe, because I think if I was reading it like on and off different trains, that would just not have been good. So I'm glad I started it now, but I think it's about to get so much more intense. I'm so scared because on live stream the other day, Jamie hit 100k, which is so exciting, and we did a little live stream for her where a bunch of the book girlies just jumped on YouTube and we had a little chat, and it was really great. And Bailey was in the chat and she said, basically very mad at Pierce Brown for the ending of Morningstar. And now I am terrified. I am purely terrified. I do not know what's going to happen. Truly have no idea. This almost doesn't feel like the ending to a third book in a trilogy. Because like technically this is the first phase done after this. And then we move on to the second phase. Like this doesn't feel like a trilogy to me. There is just so much has been set up in the first two books that I'm like, how is everything going to be concluded in the third book? I don't think it is. I think this is almost like a setup to the next phase. I'm not sure, but it is just a very differently paced series to anything I've read before. And it's really interesting going into it, knowing that it's like separated into these different phases, I guess. My brain just isn't getting my head around it very, very well. Oh, I'm just like sitting on the edge of a cliff. That's what it feels like. It feels like one wrong move and like I'm going to fall. That's what I feel like as the reader for this. So we're going to keep reading it tonight. Hopefully we get a good amount in. I'm starting to have a real soft spot for the Howlers. I feel like I am finally getting that sense of found family that I honestly haven't felt in a while. I would say since, I don't know, maybe like Jade City or something. Like the Ember and the Ashes series, I felt it as well. I guess like Way of Kings, but that's different. I love a found family. We all know that that's like my favorite trope ever. And when it's a well executed found family, like everyone has really great chemistry. And I just feel like they're finally giving me that. I feel like I've just had this kind of separation from them for a while now. I haven't felt that close to them, but this book has really turned that around. Feels so much for them. I have favorite characters. I have characters that I'm rooting for. Obviously, I'm rooting for like the Howlers, but just like, you know, I love Mustang. I know I said I wasn't connecting to her as much, but I feel like she just didn't have as big a role in the first half. Love her so much. I don't even mind Darrow. He's not going to be my favorite character, but the protagonists rarely are. There was this one scene though that kind of made me realize how much I love them when they're all just interacting. Basically, there's this witty banter going around. There's this really like playful conversation, even though we're in a really high stakes moment and like it's a serious situation, they're just kind of making fun of it. They've still got such strong personalities that just shine through even in these really dark situations. And it makes me so happy. It's almost like they're the comedic relief. The Howlers are the comedic relief in this book. And you do need that because like you're dealing with some very, I want to say serious, just in the sense of you're in war. It's not like dark or anything. It's just intense. And the stakes are so high. Honestly, every time I think that they can't get higher, they do. I also am just really confused because we have just over 100 pages left. Like we're almost at page 400 now. And I'm kind of like, how are things going to wrap up? How are things going to wrap up? Knowing that there are 2 more books following this makes it a lot better for me. Like I'm like, okay, we don't have to have all of the like ends tied up. There can be some loose threads that will get picked up on. But I just am kind of confused as to how even just this situation, the one situation that we're dealing with, like there are so many loose ends right now, but the one kind of overarching situation, I am confused on to how that's going to get tied up and like neatly, I don't know. But all good things to say so far, literally all good things. I feel like there hasn't been a dull moment. There hasn't been a moment where I've been forcing myself to read this. I've been enjoying it the entire time. I'm like so close to finishing. It's not even funny and the stakes are too high. Like it's just not okay. It's not okay. I'm just scared to believe things have actually happened if they've happened, like, because I don't trust Yes Brown one single little bit. I just don't trust him. So I'm like, has it I don't know. Okay. My gosh, he knows how to write a good action scene. Okay. It's been like a lot has happened, but I've got like 10 less pages to go. Everyone said that I'm just gonna be shocked by the end and I'm gonna like, yeah, what is gonna happen? I'm really confused. Although I thought this at the end of Golden Sun as well. And then I was just smacked in the face with the plot twist, really. Huh? Excuse me? The audacity. That's how it ends? That's how it ends. What? So out of all the endings. I had mixed up, concocted in my mind of what was going to happen. That was not one of them. That was not remotely close to one of them. Now I want to continue the series. This entire book, I have been sitting there going, I'm really enjoying this. This is really great. I love these characters. Oh my gosh, I love this world. But I'm going to take a break after this one, you know? I'm going to have a little break. I feel like I've been with our characters for long enough, and I'm just gonna wait a little bit till I continue the rest of the series. I want to continue immediately. I don't know what else to say. Pierce Brown's kind of a genius. I want to read all of them. 5 stars. Easily 5 stars. I love The Howlers. The Howlers made this book for me. I didn't quite realize until the end how connected I am to this found family and how much I love them. There was this one scene that hit me and I was like, wow, I would do anything for these characters. Guys, I genuinely don't know what to say. Don't know how to say anything without spoilers, so I don't think I'm going to. I'm just gonna say, read it. Read the Red Rising series. I cannot wait to continue to the next book in this series now. It's a sense of like closure. We did get a lot of questions answered, a lot of loose ends tied, but we also did get just pew, and now I have all these other questions. Well, how's that gonna work? For a bit of change of pace, I do have my next book because I've got like the afternoon free, so I'm gonna keep reading. I'm not gonna be able to pick up another sci-fi or fantasy for the moment. So I think for our next book, we're gonna go on to Honey by Amani Thompson. This got sent to me by the publishers. I have no idea what genre this is. I think it's like a contemporary fiction, thrillery kind of book. All I know is that the back says, the first time Isra, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but I hope I am. The first time Isra doesn't intend to kill, but the Cambridge professor sitting opposite has manipulated her friend and stolen her research. When she flicks the bee into his San Pellegrino, she thinks he'll get a nasty sting. Then he's dead, and Yisra, who's, let's face it, been bored for a while, is alive. It's a sweet feeling, finally having some control. So I have no idea what this is in store for me. I feel like we're gonna get sent onto this like massive character development, questioning morals, everything like that. And also is an academic setting, obviously set in Cambridge. So I feel like this is a very like different kind of book. It's a big change of pace, which I think is what I need. I feel like the only way to move on from books like that and like actually force yourself to keep reading, otherwise you just get stuck in a slump, is to completely switch the genre up. So this one is good. It's also a lot smaller. I think it's like 350 pages, something like that. So just like allow my brain to switch off from what just happened, but also still read, because I could so easily just stare at the wall for about 20 minutes now, or like 20 hours. I wanted to update you on my current read, which is obviously Honey. We've made a little bit of a dent, you can see. I feel like I'm still getting my head around the premise of this book. You kind of have this situation that sets up the book, and in my mind I was like, oh, that's gonna send her on like this whole like power hungry journey. It kind of does, I guess, but it's just a little bit different to what I was expecting. I think in a good way. We also immediately exploring a lot of more intense, maybe sensitive topics than I thought we were going to be, which again, I actually think that's a good quality about this book for me. Basically, our protagonist is a professor. She's doing her PhD and she is currently teaching at Cambridge. We immediately have that academic setting, which I really, really enjoy. But I feel like any kind of school like that, there's always going to be some underlying secrets going on with things. I do like her role as a professor because it definitely prompts a lot of interesting conversations. Racial discrimination is a massive theme in this, and also talking about like the history with that. I think her role as a tutor definitely, or as a professor definitely helps the conversation around that. I'm getting the idea that she's writing her PhD on like racial discrimination in history. I'm not exactly sure, maybe like more feminist side of things. I'm not entirely sure. We're just getting glimpses at it so far, and we've just gotten a little bit of an idea of what she's writing about. So I'll update you on that. But yeah, definitely a lot of topics getting brought up. Obviously the whole premise is that she puts a bee into a professor's San Pellegrino. He's drinking and she just kind of nudges the bee in there, not knowing that he's completely anaphylactic. And then she's kind of like, wow, I just rid the world of this man who was just manipulating his use of power, like his position. So it kind of sets us off on a very interesting way, like a plot line. This character's mind is fascinating. to me. Because on one hand, I'm like, look, I see where you're coming from, but obviously that doesn't like justify it. It's a very interesting mind to be in. And I'm not gonna lie, I think I'm actually enjoying it. The writing is very simple and straightforward. I think you're very classic kind of literary fiction. It's very to the point, blunt, but also that really complements what we're talking about because we are talking about more heavy things. There's a lot of mystery surrounding a lot as well. Like we've had an ex mentioned a few times and I have no idea what he did or something about that. I know that a few of her friends seem, I don't know if she trusts them fully. She seems to have a lot of trust issues. She doesn't seem to have a lot of people that are close in her life. She's definitely got a very interesting family dynamic going on. So I think we're just setting up a lot. And honestly, I have a lot of questions at the moment. And it's one of those books that throws you straight in to the thick of it really. And then you're kind of just left going, okay, what is going on? Where are we going from here? This is still a relatively new genre for me. I don't read a lot of lit fic. And I think with underlying kind of thriller-esque themes, it's definitely more up my alley, but we'll see. We'll see where it goes. I do love the cover. I honestly feel like this was just such a quick read. I haven't read a book this short in a hot minute, so this felt like it kind of just sped by. I just kind of read it and forgot to update you guys, so I'm so sorry for that. Honestly, my thoughts kind of didn't change throughout the entire book. I had a lot of questions the entire book and they all just got answered in the last 50 pages. I actually think I'm really conflicted about this one. I really don't know what I think of it as a whole. I think there was some really, really interesting themes that were explored through this. I think the idea of like, you were kind of questioning the main protagonist the entire time. You're like, are you, like, I kind of understand why you're doing that, but I hate that I understand why you're doing that. You clearly like can remove yourself from these situations emotionally. Do you, like, what kind of emotions do you deal with? And like, just you process things in a very different way. And all of these things just in my mind going, it's crazy to me. Very complicated main protagonist, a very, very morally complicated plot, because you are dealing with like murder, I guess. Like obviously that's in the back of it, and how that kind of changes her as a person and the sense of power that she feels once that happens. It's very interesting. There was like one plot twist at the end, and then the way the mother and daughter relationship was explored through this book was really interesting to me as well. I kind of love it and I kind of hate it at the same time. I really don't know. I don't know my full thoughts on this. I feel like I'm leaning towards like a 3.5 rating, just because I feel like there were some things that were explored in quite insensitive ways, but I also kind of, part of me is like, yeah, that's the point though. If you've read this, please let me know, because I feel like it was a very addictive read. The writing was very plain and simple, and I think it could have been a little bit flowerier for me, not flowerier, but like a little bit more immersive for me to really enjoy it. I did feel very removed from it all. But then, as I said, the character studies through this were crazy, and the relationships and dynamics explored were crazy. Plot twist kind of sends you thinking in an entirely different direction. So it's a very thought-provoking book. I don't even know what like genre you would say this is. It's like a thriller-esque lit fic kind of book. I would say verging on that side of thriller, but more like it just makes you think. It's not a really like scary, you're on the edge of your seat because you don't like, it's nothing like that scary. Dark and thrilling kind of themes that are thrown through the book. As I said, we also explore some really, really important and prevalent topics. Like it gave me really good insight into things. Very, very odd, but I think I knew that. And honestly, I kind of like, I think I needed that. I don't know. I don't think I would be rushing to recommend it, but I also just don't think this is the type of book that I typically pick up. So it feels quite odd for me to be reading. Also, the cover for this for the US is very, very different. Like when I was trying to find it on Fable to add it to my shelf, I like literally couldn't find it because I just wasn't expecting the cover to be so vastly different. But my initial thoughts are like a 3.5 star. After this, I'm not entirely sure what we're gonna go on to. I'm hoping to go book shopping, and that might determine what we go on to. I don't think I feel like or maybe like a romantic, like a light fantasy, or like a romance, like a actual romance heavy book. Maybe that. I'm feeling a bit of a genre shift. I'm not feeling anything too intense because I just read, these were honestly quite intense reads, both of them in their own way. I think I'm feeling something a little lighter. I think, or just, I don't know, just different themes. I don't want dark themes. I think I've had my time doing that. So yeah, no idea what we'll move on to next, but I will update you very soon. As you can see, we have started our next read. This one is very exciting. If you saw my last book shopping vlog, I have basically been on a scavenger hunt, it feels like, for this book. It came out a few months ago and I remember seeing it everywhere at the store, and I was like, oh, I'm kind of interested in it, but I'm not really feeling a pull towards it at the moment. I wasn't reading a lot of romance. I didn't pick it up, and then that was my biggest regret, because for the next few months I decided I really wanted to read it and I could not find it anywhere. And then I was like, it's okay, I'll find it in Europe. On our last full day, I found it, but it was like this special hardback edition that was really, really heavy and I could not bring that back in my suitcase. So it took a while, but then the other day I found it. It was the last one on the shelf and I got so happy. Needless to say, I jumped into it straight away as soon as we finished Honey, because I was so excited to jump into this one. Obviously, I have made a dent. We're 120 pages in. I have a few thoughts so far, but first of all I knew going into it was that we are following AJ, and she has always dreamed of writing for SNL. She's working in a video rental store when Noah walks in, and they kind of have this instant, I wouldn't say chemistry. Well, they do have chemistry, but it's not necessarily romantic chemistry straight off the bat. They just have a connection, but there's a lot of banter, there's a lot of tension between them, everything like that. Then they start to get closer, and one day Noah just disappears. Then we have a 7-year time jump into the future where their paths cross again. So we're very much set in the world of entertainment, which I think is really, really fun. It's a really great setting. I will say I've heard so many good things about the chemistry between these two, and I originally really wasn't feeling it that much. I was I get the banter and I like the back and forth and the witty comments and everything. I'm not really feeling this really strong chemistry. I already do. So I'm really excited to see where it goes from here. I haven't read a romance book, and I know this isn't specifically romance, more a literary fiction with a love story. A love story is a good way to describe it, I think. Interested in where this is going to go. I haven't read a book like that for a long time, and I'm really liking the switch up in genres. I feel like we've really had a lot of different genres in this video, and I'm really grateful for that because I think I needed that. And as I said, I'm 120 pages in. I am going to sit down and see how much I can read, because I have not been getting very much read at the moment. I had just decided that in my last semester of uni, I was going to sign up and become a Pilates instructor. And so now I'm doing that as well as doing full-time content in the podcast. And it's just a lot. I just haven't had a lot of time. So yeah, I've been listening to a lot of audiobooks, but I want to just sit down and see how much I can read tonight. I have the night alone. We're going to get a good chunk in. That's my aim. 246 pages into the blue. Same night, just a few hours later. I definitely am not going to finish it tonight because I'm exhausted and I'm not about to push myself through this, because there is nothing worse than pushing yourself through a book. I say that because sometimes I can just stay up and read for as long as possible until I finish the book, but I just know that I'm tired, and there's nothing worse than ruining an experience for what you think is going to be a really good book. And I know that so many people have very strong reactions to the end of this book, so I don't want to rush it at all. Oh my gosh, though, we have just gotten, I want to say, so much lore. We've gotten so much lore into Noah and into their character dynamic and into everything. I know this book is going to ruin me. I know there is so many possibilities right now, and I'm want to cry thinking about the possibilities. Do you know who they're reminding me of? Of the Notebook characters. I don't even know their names. Ryan Gosling and Rachel McAdams. I don't even know their names because I refuse to watch that movie. I've watched it twice and I refuse to watch it ever again because I bawl. It is one of the most beautiful, incredible movies I've ever watched. But just the way they keep those two characters they keep finding their way back to each other. It's this invisible string theory to have their souls are intertwined. That is what I'm feeling for AJ and Noah. I know that's a bold claim. I am very aware of how bold a claim that is, and yet that is what I am feeling. I am so... See, this is why I stay away from contemporary fictions that I know are going to hurt me, because I'm not very good at crying over characters, and when I get emotionally attached to characters, I get emotionally attached. I'm nervous is what I'm trying to say. I really like the writing. I'm really, really liking everything. I really like the pacing of this. I'm starting to realize that I do really love books when they're paced a little bit uniquely. We're not just paced over a few months, or it's not just a few years or whatever. We have time jumps. I'm starting to realize that I really like books that take place over a long long period of time, because I think it allows our characters to grow so much, but in a realistic way. Like, they're not having this insane character development in a month. There's these life lessons that they have to endure and they have to go through to grow as a person. And I'm like, yeah, that's a little bit more realistic. I appreciate that so much. And I feel like it's an ongoing theme. I definitely with contemporary fictions, but also with books like particular type of fantasy books. And it took me a little bit to get used to that. I remember when I read Jade City, for example, which has really, really big time jumps. I read that and I was like, oh, I don't know if I like this. I'm not sure, but I definitely do. Like, it's definitely a favorite thing of mine. And as I said before, we do have like time jumps in this. It's really interesting to see how they grow, to see how their lives change. Something just happened in AJ's life that I don't know how it's going to impact her. I'm just so nervous. I don't think I've been this nervous for in a book for a long time. Anyway, I'm not going to force myself to cry over it tonight because I know I'm going to cry at the ending of this. And I'm a pretty hard person to get crying at the end of a book, but I already know how attached I am to these characters, so... Okay, that was over so much quicker than I thought it was gonna be. Okay, I definitely got teary-eyed. Like, I'm a little bit foggy, but like, I was kind of expecting to bawl. I feel like that's why I'm kind of shocked that it's over. I kind of was waiting to have more time with our characters. It's emotional. It's an emotional ending. I think because of the situation that is alluded to, like halfway through the book. Like, it is a bit sad. Like, I'm a bit teary, but like, I think I had mentally prepared myself for like extreme emotional damage because of what I thought was going to happen. If you've read the book, I'm sure you'll understand. I think I just was ready to have my heart ripped out and stood on. Like, I definitely am sad by that ending, but it's like a happy, sad, I don't know, it's like these conflicting emotions. I don't really know how to describe it. What a book. This gave me Taylor Jenkins Reid. I'm trying to think of another author, but like, yeah, kind of just Taylor Jenkins Reid feels. It was like an epic love story. It was like this dramatic, a love that can change worlds kind of love. And I think the only time I've read that before is like I've watched it a lot and like I have read about it, but like Taylor Jenkins Reid is coming to mind straight away. She always writes these really epic love stories. Not in the sense of like they're really highly dramatic. Oh, do you know who? Magnolia and BJ. That's what it's giving me. But I do think the closest comparison is The Notebook. And isn't his name Noah in The Notebook? I think it is. I think that's the best comparison because it's like this tragic, all-consuming, vibrant, but also so compassionate that it gets to the point of like, I don't know, like not dangerous, but you know, it just is such a moving kind of love. It's a powerful. You can feel it through these pages. Like you can feel how much your characters mean to each other, how they connect to each other. I really, really liked the integration of like acting, like the whole screen world, SNL reality, not reality TV, what kind of reality TV? But like skits and everything like that. It was really fun to have a setting like that. I haven't read a romance book with a setting like that in a while. Honestly, such a refreshing read. I haven't so sad. It is a really sad read. It's an emotional read. It's going to take a toll on you, but it's also a really refreshing read in the sense that it's not your typical love story, a real and raw love story. They're fighting challenges. They're going through really strong things. I will say, I think AJ, like I understand that she goes through a lot, but she often like referred to herself as like effed up. And I was like, girl, I don't think you're too bad. Like you're doing good. I don't know. It made me sad to have her refer to herself like that. It was kind of intoxicating. It was kind of all consuming like that. And you don't always stumble across reads like that. So I would say this is worth the hype. I don't think it was a 5-star. I don't think it was perfect. I think it was a 4.5 for me. So still incredibly high. I will say there are definitely themes of like kind of miscommunication. I don't know what you would even say. There's just some toxic traits within their relationship, and it's to be expected considering the circumstances, so it kind of didn't annoy me as much as it usually would. But yeah, just go in, I guess, knowing that. I have so often in the past judged a book because it's got tropes that I wouldn't typically read about, and I've tried to go in with an open mind, and that's really changed everything. So it's definitely not a perfect book. It's not a 5-star read, but it's a read that's going to stick with me, and it's a read that I think has so many valuable lessons in it, and it was just, as I said, really, really original and so refreshing to read about. But well, it's actually been more than a week, but what a few weeks of reads. That was crazy. I didn't expect that. We had some really intense reads there. So thank you for watching and sticking around with me to the end. That was a bit of a roller coaster of reads, of emotions, but I'm glad I took you along for the ride. If you have watched all the way till the end, thank you so much. It feels so good to be back in my groove with reading vlogs. I know it hasn't been that long, but it feels like it's been a hot minute since I filmed a reading vlog, and I forgot how much I love it felt weird to read books. Like, I know I read a book now and then without vlogging it, but it felt weird to be reading so many books and not having someone to talk to about it. It was a really odd experience, so very happy to be back doing this. But yeah, if you've stuck around to the end, thank you so much. I love you guys so much, and I will see you in my next video.